You may not know this, but there are more than 9 million U.S. veterans over the age of 65, and many of them still struggle with PTSD and depression. Our Huck's Hero tonight has a simple goal: to honor and support these patriotic men and women for the sacrifices that they have made for our country through her organization called Forever Young Veterans.
I enlisted in the Army when I was 18 years old. I was just a country boy. I'd never been anywhere in my life.
I was a bombardier navigator gunner on a B-24.
And spent almost 3.5 years on 2 different aircraft carriers.
We honor veterans 65 and older, so that's World War II, Korea, Vietnam vets, and men that served in between. We wanted to grant individual wishes for them, but we also wanted to take them back to where they fought.
It's always special to be with other veterans, no matter what war you fought in or what your service involved, that you all pretty much have the same stories. I have 9 Marine friends that I lost in Vietnam that their names are on the wall. One of the names on the wall behind us was my closest friend, Gary Thorpe. He was killed the 25th of February, 1968, when an artillery round hit his bunker. He died instantly. But to see his name on the wall right over my shoulder was really, we didn't plan it, it was just something that just happened. And Diane calls it a God moment.
These opportunities, when these guys get together, on a trip especially, that's when the vets would get together and talk. And Diane would try to encourage people in the beginning, and after a while it wasn't so hard. They began to share about their experiences in the military, people that hadn't talked about that for years. And I saw some healing and unburdening going on.
It's such a satisfying feeling to know that we're making a difference in their lives. We just see God work miracles after miracles. I can plan trips and raise money, but only God can bring healing in their lives.
I've really enjoyed the Forever Young Vets, getting together with the veterans and getting to know them better.
Please welcome our Huck's Hero, the founder of Forever Young Veterans, Diane Hight. Diane, I have 2 great regrets. One is that COVID and all this snow has kept us from being in the studio, because quite frankly, I'd like to give you a big hug for what you're doing.
I wish you could.
What an amazing organization. Where did you get the vision for Forever Young Veterans?
Well, my father came back from the war, and that's World War II, an alcoholic. And I just watched him suffer over the years. And, you know, we suffered too. I didn't realize it until I got older that he was really suffering from PTSD. And I just wanted to make a difference in the lives of his comrades. I had such a heart and a passion for them, which I know came from having him as my father. I wasn't able to bring healing into his life because he died in 1982.
There's one of the stories that I just was intrigued by. You helped reunite a World War II veteran by the name of K.T. Robbins with his French girlfriend from 75 years ago. Tell us about that.
Well, that was a unique wish. He was going back with us for the 75th anniversary. And we have a monthly meeting in Germantown, Tennessee, and we have about 200 veterans that come. And so he brought me this picture, and he said, you know, since I'm going back to France, I have this family that I'd like to locate. He said, they befriended me during the war. And he showed me this picture. And it was of this beautiful, sexy girl. And I said, okay, T, I was not born yesterday. I know you want to find her. You're not interested in the family. And he said, well, I really don't think she's alive, because it was 75 years ago. And he was 97, 98 at that time. And so I tried to find her. I wasn't very successful. But what ended up happening, we had a French news station over in Paris that was doing a story on one of our veterans. And so they called me, and we were giving them information about him. And before they got off the phone, I said, I have this wish from one of our Normandy vets that is going back with us. He would like to find his girlfriend. Now, this is very unusual, because usually the guys were always advancing, but he was in the bakery battalion. And so he happened to be in this little town for 3 months. And that's how he got to know her. And so this reporter was like, oh, a love story. And they found her with one phone call. And so we reunited them. As soon as he saw her, he started hugging her and kissing her and telling her he loved her. She was saying that she loved him. She was like, why did it take you so long to come back? And she waited for him for 5 years before she married.
75 years, and they still had the spark. Diane, that's a beautiful story. But all these stories of what you're doing for these veterans is so powerful. How many of these veterans have you been able to take on the trips of honor, as you call
them? We've taken hundreds. We've been to Normandy 8 times, and we've been to Belgium, where the Battle of Bulge took place 8 times, and England and Italy, and we've been to Washington, D.C. and Pearl Harbor. I mean, just so many times I've lost count. And probably one of the best parts about going on these trips is the time in the evening, because that's when we see God do a lot of healing in their lives, when they're able to sit and share with one another.
Well, we only have just a few seconds left, but how can people help you make it possible for these veterans to experience what you're helping them to do?
We need everyone to help us. If you love our veterans, please help us continue these, not only trips, but we grant individual wishes for them as well. And I've never taken a salary. I do this out of love for my dad and my uncle who fought in World War II in Korea. So we want you to be a part of Forever Young Veterans. We need you.
Well, Diane, I owe you a hug. I will give it to you one of these days, just to say thank you for what you're doing for these magnificent heroes. Now, if you want more information on Forever Young Veterans, I hope you'll look them up online at foreveryoungvets.org. Also on social media at Forever Young Vets.